If I have learned anything throughout my years battling acne, it is that lifestyle most definitely matters. We always hear from the skin experts, the influencers, that we need to have healthier lifestyle habits because that contributes to clearer skin. But for a long time, I could not really understand it or connect to it in relation to myself until I actually started implementing habits in my daily life and consistently over the years. Like many of you, if we hear about a healthy habit one can implement easily, we try to do so. But it wasn't until 2020 that I started taking my health seriously, because it was the year that I turned 30 and I wanted to enter that new decade as healthy as possible. Coincidentally, that was the year I also started noticing how lifestyle played a factor into achieving clearer skin. It was in the first few months of doing so that I noticed that my skin was having less painful breakouts. It looked pretty even, less red in general. And my skin looked so good that even my father complimented my skin, saying he noticed a difference and that it was looking a lot better. To me, that means a lot because my father wouldn't say anything unless he noticed something good. And I took that as a sign that what I was doing at the time and what I'm still doing to this day has been working. I was still using a retinoid on a nightly basis. It was 0.3% adapalene, as well as 5% dapsone twice a day. So even though I had this newfound lifestyle change, I was still very reliant on my anti-acne topicals, because if I ever swayed from my new lifestyle and ate unhealthy, I noticed really painful breakouts. So I had a heavy reliance on anti-acne topicals still at the time. And as such, I didn't really want to create a video like this because I was still uncertain about the lifestyle habits that I was doing that was clearing my skin. Fast forward to 2021, that was the year that I became fatigued with skincare. I felt like I reached a plateau in my clear skin journey when it came to skincare topicals. And it was a video I created called No Makeup Makeup on a Bad Skin Day. In that video, I talked about how essentially I was just frustrated with breaking out still, even after using anti-acne topicals on a nightly basis, sometimes twice a day for years at that point, and I still was breaking out with these cystic spots. With these cystic spots, they were of course inflamed, they were painful, and my skin barrier in general was impaired. I felt like my skin looked more textured, it was more dehydrated, it just couldn't retain any moisture whatsoever, and it became super sensitive. So as you can imagine, I was just really frustrated that at a point where I just wanted to eat some shitty food or not really stick to my healthier lifestyle habits, that I had such a terrible breakout, even with the use of a very powerful topical anti-acne product. And actually at that time, that's when I started using tretinoin, not adapalene. I got this comment on my channel recently. The user is LOL Makeup. I've been on tretinoin for a while and still getting breakouts. What do you think helps with not getting acne anymore? Can you do a video on it too? That is what this video is about. After years of practicing these lifestyle habits, some of them a bit more recent, but long enough to test out nonetheless, I find I am ready to share with you these 6 core lifestyle habits I have implemented into my daily life to clear my skin holistically. Skincare to me still serves as a great tool when it comes to clearing up one's skin, and it gave me the peace of mind at the time to have fairly clear skin and to explore the avenue of what is the root cause of my acne, what can I do on the inside to actually prevent future breakouts. After all these years of trying different skincare products, using anti-acne medications, practicing different lifestyle habits, be it trendy or not so trendy, controversial or not, it's that in short, the outside is truly a reflection of the inside. With all that being said, let's get into the topic of today's video, the 6 main lifestyle habits I have implemented in my life over the past year, the past few years, that have cleared my skin holistically and helped to keep it clear. The first lifestyle habit is having a calm mind. This is the first step I took to clear my skin holistically. It's just to give my mind and my heart peace. It does not serve one well to constantly stress out over a breakout and to put yourself down from it. Having a skin disease like acne can be both physically and mentally painful, but we need to know how to pick ourselves up and move on and not let it control our lives. I experienced firsthand how a shift in thought can better my skin. This was back in 2013, my last really big, crazy cystic acne breakout. I'll show some pictures here, but as you can see, my face is so red. I actually didn't even know what my skin color was. It was so bumpy with both inflamed and non-inflamed comedones on my face. And it was not just on my cheeks, but it started creeping up to around my nose, my forehead, down my neck. It was like it was never ending. And no matter what I did, the acne would not stop. It was like I was growing a new cyst or two every single day. It was actually so bad that to just move my face was pretty painful. But honestly, during those times, I was rarely smiling. I was just super stressed out and self-conscious, and I felt like there was nothing really to be happy about. As you can imagine, during that time, I was pretty much at my wit's end for doing anything possible to clear my skin. And it was at that point that I kind of figuratively flipped the table and said, I don't give a fuck anymore. I swear to you, from that point on, my skin started to clear, and it was very visible how my emotional distress was contributing to my acne. Simply put, inflamed mind, inflamed skin. I tried from that point forward, and still do to this day, I think we all do it to an extent, is to be kinder to ourselves, not be as negative towards our outer appearance, and just take care of ourselves on that mental, spiritual level. Since then, I began to have kinder thoughts about myself and no longer saw my acne as the end of the world. I was no longer my acne. I let go of that version of myself. Now, when one appears on occasion a really painful cystic spot, I'm again way kinder to myself. I'm gentler with treating it, a lot more patient, understanding that it does take a bit of time to clear a spot like that. But most importantly, I do not give it my full time and attention. I got things to do, a life to enjoy. Do not let acne or any skin concern claim your mind. Breakouts happen, but they do not define you. The second main lifestyle habit I have implemented in my life to clear my skin holistically is to be out in nature more. Fresh air, sun, being amongst the trees, walking barefoot in the grass or sand. It is always a mood lifter. Very much tied to the first point, being in nature calms one's mind, gives a feeling of rest, and just improve one's well-being. Every time I'm at the beach, I always bring something to read, but more often than not, I'm actually just relaxing in the silence, listening to the water, feeling the fresh air, supplementing sunshine, having my feet in the sand. On that note, I do want to touch on supplementing sunshine specifically. I find that one cannot reap the benefits of nature without doing so. For me, it is more than just getting the bioavailable vitamin D. My mood is better, it lowers my blood pressure, I sleep better, my skin looks fresher and clearer. Overall, I'm just happier in general. I'm not saying to sit out for hours on end, burning your skin underneath the sun. I'm talking about supplementing for 10 to 15 minutes, and that's what my skin tolerates. Being outside, especially in nature, contributes to my inner peace and helps me feel more relaxed in general. Less stress, less negative impact on the body, including my skin. The third main lifestyle habit that has helped clear my skin in a holistic manner is getting better sleep. And by better sleep, I mean better quality of sleep. One can sleep for 10 hours and feel like they got 2 hours of sleep, while another only 6 hours and they're very refreshed, alert, and ready to take on the day. My quality of sleep started declining essentially in high school, earlier mornings, later evenings. I started working part-time, so a lot of my time and effort was going to school, work, trying to socialize, so as a result, very little sleep. University and my early to mid 20s, it got even worse because I was surviving off of 3 to 4 hours of sleep, 5 to 6 on a good night. However, on the nights where I had the poorest sleep, so the 3 hours or less of sleep, I was just stressed out in general about common life problems that we all have. Also during that time, I was doing a lot of shift work. If you worked in hospitality, you know what that means. So you can imagine how all of those lifestyle factors took a toll on my skin, my body, and my inability to have a long, deep sleep. Basically, I never gave the rest and repair my body so desperately needed, and it reflected on my skin. I was looking depleted and tired, and at this point in time, my under eyes were at their worst. Fast forward to now, I have a calmer mind, a more relaxed body. I've gone through major life changes in terms of work and living circumstances. I am now able to fall asleep quickly and deeply. As a result, I feel less anxious about life in general, and my energy levels are high and consistent. And of course, my skin looks a whole lot better because of how well rested I am. If there is one major habit to prioritize when it comes to clearing skin holistically and just improve one's overall well-being, it is your sleep. Rest well and you will be able to take on the day no matter what it throws at you. The fourth main lifestyle habit I have implemented in my daily life to clear my skin holistically is to eat whole foods. The phrase, "you are what you eat," has never rung more true when it comes to clearing my skin. I have been saying this time and time again, what I eat reflects on my face, and pretty quickly at that. I started my specific way of eating back in 2020, and it was like within the first month that I noticed the results of eating so well and so consistent. The past couple of years, however, I've been a bit more lax with my eating habits, not as disciplined about eating whole foods, eating out a lot more, not having the greatest types of foods. So as a result, my skin became more irritated, a bit more red, more easily impaired, and more frequent breakouts. In 2023, after returning from our visit to Canada, where we essentially gorged on all the different cuisines Toronto has to offer, both my husband and I went back into this whole food way of eating, being very disciplined about it, and we still continue to this day. We've been very good about it. Basically, we eat a whole foods way 90% of the time, with 10% for the joys in life. I've never gone into full detail about what I eat, and maybe in the future I'll do a dedicated video on that. But in short, here's what I look for and what I do when it comes to this whole food way of eating. My plate consists of foods that have the most bioavailable nutrients, so animal-based foods in terms of protein and fat. For carbohydrates, I try to eat seasonal-based fruits and vegetables, but obviously that can't be fully controlled, especially if I am craving a specific fruit. To my dismay, I do have to limit spicy foods. I used to eat spicy foods all the time, but it wasn't so great on my gut. So I have to limit that now, but I do on occasion, as I mentioned, like to eat the particularly very spicy type of meal. We don't really buy store-bought condiments. We try to make everything at home as much as possible, be it hot sauces, dressings for salad, side dishes like kimchi or sauerkraut. But of course, with every rule, there is an exception. For me, I love Tabasco hot sauce. And lastly, it is to shop local as much as possible, not go to these big chain stores. Go to the local butcher, go to the farmer's market, go to the farm itself to get the meats, fruits, veggies, whatever we want to consume in our daily lives. We try to support local as much as possible. I've mentioned this in the past, but I used to have very sensitive intestinal issues. I actually was diagnosed with pancreatitis and then appendicitis. I got my appendix removed back in 2018. And ever since then, I was still very sensitive to certain foods. I could not tell what was the root cause of my intestinal suffering. It was pretty much just random and I had no control over it. Even when I thought I was eating healthy, I was still having these intestinal issues. And I just accepted the fact that I'm a slightly broken 20-something-year-old that has to live with this for the rest of her life. However, ever since being consistent about eating the way I do with home-cooked meals, thank you, husband, I have noticed that almost all of my intestinal issues actually improved. I am more tolerant to certain foods than I was in the past. I no longer get abdominal pain or discomfort. I used to call it ghost pain from where my appendix used to be. It was like no matter what I ate, it felt inflamed even though I no longer had an appendix anymore. So that is gone completely. I don't have a bloat belly, a really hard protruding bloat belly. I have very little to no reliance on supplements. I did mention in my current favorites video of 2024 that I do take fermented cod liver oil. But other than that, I don't feel the need to go out and buy all the different types of pills and lotions and potions to supplement into my diet because I find the way I eat has been pretty sufficient. And lastly, my bowel movements are a lot more comprehensive, TMI, but it's a great thing to have. Now that I no longer feel inflamed on the inside, I can see that my skin most definitely reflects that. It is less red, less reactive. If I break out, it's a lot smaller, it's less painful, it goes away a lot quicker, and I find myself less reliant on anti-acne actives. Eating whole foods has been one of the most insightful and visible ways I have cleared my skin holistically. The fifth main lifestyle habit I started to implement in my life to help clear my skin holistically is to live an active lifestyle. I've been very on and off with being active throughout the years, but it wasn't until 2023, the beginning of 2023, that I really maintained this consistent active lifestyle and still do to this day. Of course, I didn't start having an active lifestyle solely for my skin, but I did want it to improve my health and physical appearance as well. I did start off with strength training, but I did notice some hormonal issues, which I will get into in the last lifestyle habit. So as a result, I switched to yoga as just a gentler alternative to keeping active. And so I continued that from May until the rest of the year. Now beginning this year in 2024, I went back to strength training, but I'm not as harsh on my body as I was last year. Since I've been living an active lifestyle consistently for well over a year, here is how I have noticed it helped to clear my skin. Primarily, I feel like I have less severe acne breakouts because my glucose spikes are more controlled. According to biochemist Jessie Inchauspé, also known as the glucose goddess, multiple glucose spikes lead to inflammation. Acne is one of the multiple prominent symptoms. It is a signal from your body trying to tell you that there are glucose problems from within. I highly suspect that my body is utilizing glucose better as a result of working out more, and in turn, I have more controlled glucose spikes. I've also noticed that my body temperature has increased. I'm no longer cold all the time. I used to be that person that was even cold in the summer at night. My hands were always very cold and my feet too. Ever since being more active, I noticed I have less of a focus on my skin and more so on just taking care of the place that I truly live in. And by taking care of the place that I truly live in, I like myself a lot more when I look at myself in the mirror. I feel less scrawny, I look more balanced, my clothes fit better. Becoming more active has not only helped at keeping my skin more clear, but it's also helped to boost my self-esteem. I like myself a whole lot more now in my 30s than I did in my 20s. The sixth and final main habit I started to do to help clear my skin in a holistic way is to chart my cycle. I have never done this in the past. It was only last year when I started experiencing those hormonal issues, like I mentioned, with working out too much, that I started tracking my cycle to decipher what was going on with my period, with my hormones, that working out was having such a negative effect. And what I've come to learn after over a year of tracking my cycle is that it is more than just a tool for preventing or planning pregnancy. It is a true insight into my health. Through charting, I realized that my body was really stressed out because of what I was putting it through with the extensive strength training. and my hormones were becoming more imbalanced than they already were. In regards to acne, charting my cycle helped me navigate where exactly the hormonal imbalance was. Essentially, I had estrogen dominance at the time, otherwise known as not producing enough progesterone, and it was through charting my cycle that's how I figured out what my hormonal imbalance actually was. Basically, through charting, I am able to see my hormonal imbalances. I saw how overworking my body perpetuated them, why I was breaking out before my period, also why I would randomly break out during ovulation. With the information I gathered about my body, I took action in various areas of my life to improve this hormonal imbalance. In short, I kept carbs in moderation, became more gentle with my active lifestyle, took supplements as needed, and most importantly, just being less stressed out about this hormonal imbalance. To the women watching this video, I highly recommend charting your cycle if you haven't already. It is truly a window into our unique bodies. That's it for the 6 main habits I developed to improve my well-being and saw clearer skin along the way. I do want to emphasize that these are lifestyle habits I didn't just come up with within the week. I didn't only test it out for a month. These have been in practice for years, save for the one which is charting my cycle, but more or less I've been putting these habits into practice throughout the years, and frankly, I think that's how long it takes to see results on your skin. Probably less for a lot of people, and as I did mention, when I started to eat a lot better, I did notice it fairly quickly. But to see how they all work together and to really point out which habit specifically did a certain thing and how it's affecting you on the outside, I do think it takes quite a while to be really sure about it. And that's kind of why it took me so long to film a video like this, because once I start noticing something working, I want to make sure it's that thing I was doing and not something else coinciding with it. And because I do use anti-acne medications, or did more so in the past, I was never 100% about how much the lifestyle contributed to it. But since I have been using them less, and I have years of information on my body now, I'm fairly confident that these are indeed the 6 main habits that really help to improve my overall being, thus reflecting on my skin. Just like anything I review or talk about on this channel, your mileage may vary. What works for me may not work for you, but nonetheless, I hope you found this video helpful and informative. You can take these main habits that I use on myself, maybe implemented towards your daily life, or if there's something that doesn't align right with what I do, maybe you can work it out in whatever way possible that suits your life the best. All I know is that these are the 6 main ones that are at the top of my mind that I know has for sure help to improve the overall clarity and health of my skin. I hope to do more videos in the future dedicated to the habits I mentioned, like improving sleep hygiene, what I eat in a day, how I chart my cycle, a review on charting my cycle for a year, stuff like that. But I did want to do this video first to serve as a general summary, and hopefully once again in the future I could just elaborate more on each one, because pretty much each topic deserves its own video. With all that being said, I will end the video with this. Our body is the one place we truly live in. Take care of it from the inside, and it will glow on the outside. If you did enjoy this video, please give it a like. Subscribe to my channel down below for future videos, including the dedicated videos. If you have a lifestyle habit that you find has made a world of a difference that I didn't really touch upon in detail, please be sure to leave a comment down below. I would love to read about it. That's it for this video. See you all soon. Ciao.